Ati Ruexu, who's the founder and CEO of Sigma, which is an Edinburgh startup, and she had 3 questions, kind of on your style as a leader, if you like. So I'll put all three of these out at once. What does a good day of productivity look like? Between sales and investment, which ones do you prioritise as CEO? And besides family, what keeps you going through the tough times?
How do you define that? I mean, when you're frazzled and it's 6 o'clock at night and you haven't had time to go to the toilet, is that a really productive day or not? Probably not. I think you always have to reflect on where you're really adding value. Everybody can be really busy every day. But, as chief executive, you're responsible for the medium to longer term. You're responsible for the delivery of that strategic plan, not the annual operating plan, or not this day's sales or this month's sales or whatever. So always reflect on what you're paid to do and what the team needs you to do. And don't just be busy because that made you productive, right? So I don't know if that quite answers the question, but I think you should always reflect on that. And in terms of, the second point around investment versus sales, they kind of go hand in hand. I think because we historically ran a private company, we were quite picky on our investments, because if we got them wrong, we were dead, right? So I think, try and stack the odds in your favour. So if you're going to invest, look at your upside case, look at your downside risk. How can you mitigate that downside risk? And if you can be very confident mitigating that downside risk, go for it, right? Because the upside potential will take care of itself. However, if that downside risk is so significant because either sales volume's low or the competitive challenges are a bit too tough, maybe you still do it, but maybe just not now, right? Because I always believe there are some really, really clear priorities that you can actually go and crack on with. And don't go bet the farm, don't go in the roulette wheel and have everything in black or red, because you will fail, right? 1 in a billion will get it right, but the other 999 million of us won't. So you just take that on board. That's life.
In tough times?
Was that around work-life balance? And
just if you've had, I presume, a series of things not go your way over a sort of period of time.
I think we're all, nobody is infallible. And some folks, they've got more front than Blackpool front, right? And they will never, ever, ever tell you about, the really, really dark days. But yeah, yourself. So for example, when you've let yourself down, no one else is going to give you a harder slap than you've given yourself. And I've been through, so if I take COVID times, in the last 6 months, we've built a brilliant business that's had to be significantly unpicked. 650 people having to leave their business. Horrible. I can still look myself in the mirror and know that I've tried to do the right thing to protect the team that's going to be there. Sometimes, when you're pruning a plant or whatever, you need to cut away a few leaves and whatever else. Sometimes you need to cut into the bone whether you like it or not. And that's just horrible. I think the human side of many business decisions is a thing that probably would drag you down. But people look to you, not always to be cheeky chappy and happy Charlie, but they look to you to be strong and to be resilient. And my advice always to folks is, it is a lonely old job. I've been very, very fortunate in my last 20 years. I've built some brilliant relationships with people that I work for that I do consider friends. I built brilliant relationships with co-investors. I built brilliant relationships. I was in the YPO for a good number of years. I'm now chair of Entrepreneurial Scotland Foundation. I'll get people to talk to. And I would encourage you, go find your own people to talk to. When you're having dark times, whether it's personal, whether it's business, someone's been there before, or you will get a perspective that might just take you to another place. And that's been probably my biggest learning in the last 12, 13 years since I became CEO. Because when I was, a functional president and I was an operations director, whatever, I had a broader church to speak to. But I think the further up that pyramid you go, you're sitting on a big sharp pointy thing. So, look at almost inverting that pyramid if you can, and build your own network to support you.
Nice. That's really effective but really simple advice, which is brilliant.
I'm good at simple.